Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, so in a world that's, well, let's face it, pretty turbulent economically, India is kind of rewriting its playbook. Today, we're going to unpack its big strategy to not just survive, but to actually thrive by building something called strategic resilience. Let's get into it.
For the longest time, the rule in economics was pretty simple. If you had a strong domestic economy, you were pretty much guaranteed some global stability. But, as this quote makes crystal clear, that rulebook's been tossed out the window. So what gives? Why isn't having your own house in order enough to keep you safe from the storm outside anymore?
To really get a grip on this new strategy, we first have to wrap our heads around the new playing field. The sources are really clear on this. The world has entered a totally new phase, and it's nothing like what came before.
We've seen this massive shift, right? We've gone from what they called hyper-globalization, where everything was about efficiency, making things cheaper, connecting everything seamlessly, to this new era of geostrategic globalization. Now it's all about national security and self-reliance. Those economic connections that we used to see as a good thing, a source of stability, now they're often seen as potential weak spots.
And this is really the heart of the matter. The weaponization of economic interdependence. What does that even mean? Well, it means that all the things that used to connect us, think energy pipelines, financial systems, those critical supply chains, they're now being used as tools, as weapons, basically. Tools for geopolitical leverage. This one shift is the real reason a whole new strategy is even needed.
Okay, so if that's the scary new world we live in, what's India's game plan? How do you even play on a field like that? Well, it's not just one single move. It's a very deliberate three-phase journey, and it's designed to completely change its position in the world.
So, here's how it breaks down. It unfolds in three big steps. First, you start on defense. That's intelligent import substitution. Basically, building up your own ability to make critical stuff at home. Then, you move to the core of what we're talking about today, strategic resilience. This is all about being tough, being able to take a punch from the outside world. And finally, you switch to offense. That's the end game, strategic indispensability, becoming so important that, well, the world can't really function without you.
All right, let's zoom in on that middle step because it's really the heart of this whole thing, strategic resilience. The best way to think about it is like an economy's immune system. It's about having the ability to absorb a shock, a trade war, another pandemic, a financial meltdown, and just keep on ticking without a total collapse.
And you gotta understand, this is a really key point. Strategic resilience isn't just about playing defense or just surviving. It's the essential foundation for actually having some influence. It's the bridge that takes you from being a rule taker in the global economy to becoming a rule shaper. You can't change the rules of the game if you're constantly worried about getting knocked out, right?
Okay, so if strategic resilience is where we're headed, what's the engine that's going to get us there? What powers this whole journey? Well, the sources we're looking at point overwhelmingly to one specific sector.
Now look, India's services exports, they're a massive success story, no doubt about it. A huge stabilizer. But the argument here is that while they're absolutely necessary, they're just not enough on their own for that long-term, rock-solid external stability. If you want real, durable strength, especially for your currency, history pretty much shows that a powerful manufacturing export base is the only path that's been proven to work. And this is super important. This manufacturing strategy isn't about closing yourself off from the world. It's the opposite. It's about smart integration. There's this concept called backward GVC participation. Sounds complicated, but it's simple. Think of it like this. You import the parts for, say, a smartphone. You use your skilled workers in tech to assemble it, and then you export the finished, much more valuable phone. It's all about finding your spot and becoming a really critical link in that global supply chain.
And make no mistake, the ambition here is absolutely massive. The goal is to basically double the manufacturing sector's share of the entire economy to 25% by 2035. This isn't just some number on a spreadsheet. It's being treated as a core strategic national imperative. All right, but let's be real. Trying to pull off a strategy this big in today's world, it's super risky. To keep that manufacturing engine running without it sputtering out at the first sign of trouble, you need a safety net. You need some serious shock absorbers, and that's exactly what India has been building. This quote just nails the dilemma perfectly. India must run a marathon as if it were a sprint. The goals are long-term, right? That's the marathon. But the world is changing so fast, you have to go after them with the intensity of a sprint. And to do that, you need incredible stamina. You need huge reserves. So what are these reserves? First up,
a massive war chest of foreign exchange reserves. We're talking over $700 billion. To put that in perspective, that's enough to cover almost a full year of imports. It's a huge shield against any funny business with the currency or financial shocks from abroad.
And second, you've got that powerhouse services sector we mentioned. The money it brings in, that growing surplus, acts as this giant stabilizer. It actually helps pay for about 2/3 of the country's deficit in physical goods.
And if you're wondering why those buffers are so critical, just look at this. This chart shows the flow of what's called foreign portfolio investments. This is hot money. It can flood into the country one minute and then vanish the next. That creates massive instability. So those big, stable reserves and the steady income from services, they're the safety net. They're designed specifically to protect the economy from the wild swings of this unpredictable capital.
Okay, so let's pull it all together. You've got the manufacturing engine revving up. You've got the financial safety net firmly in place. So where is this all headed? What's the ultimate destination? This brings us to the final and, honestly, the most ambitious phase of the entire strategy. See, the end game here isn't just about self-reliance. It's not just about making your own stuff. The real goal is to become so deeply woven into the fabric of the global economy, to provide so much value that you become a node that others cannot bypass, a critical junction that the rest of the world just has to go through.
And when you become that indispensable, you get something the sources call reverse leverage. It's a really cool idea. It's a type of power that doesn't come from pointing missiles at people, it comes from being essential. When other countries depend on you for critical things, it gives you a powerful shield against economic pressure and a much bigger say in how things are run.
And honestly, this one sentence just sums up the entire goal perfectly. When the world moves from thinking about buying Indian to buying Indian without thinking, India will have attained strategic indispensability. It's about building that deep, default level of trust and reliability. That's the real finish line.
So this whole journey we've talked about, from defense to offense, from resilience to indispensability, it really leaves us with a big, thought-provoking question for our times. In this messy, fragmented new world, what does it actually take for a nation to go from just being a shock absorber to being someone who actually shapes what happens next? It's a huge question. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.